If you're like Jennifer, or if you're like me, I'm Brian, that song brings you to the summer of 1985.
I was trading my blue jelly purse for a whole bunch of stickers from Cherie and Jessica up the street.
And I was listening to radio and playing stickball in the street on Staten Island, and the Coca-Cola Company, when Tears for Fears was singing Shout, Coca-Cola was unveiling one of the biggest marketing blunders in the history of the world.
Yes.
If you're of a certain age, you remember New Coke?
There's never been a better taste. There's never been a better Coke. Introducing the greatest taste discovery in 100 years. Introducing the new taste of Coca-Cola. A taste that is Coke and everything a Coke means. A taste that's very familiar, yet totally new. A taste so good, so real, it couldn't be anything but a Coke. The great new taste of Coke. Watch for it, try it, and enjoy the best tasting Coke ever.
Okay, so after probably spending millions of dollars on the actual formula to create New Coke and to market New Coke, within days in the summer of 1985, the Coca-Cola Company received a barrage of complaints. Nobody liked New Coke, making New Coke, in the lexicon of pop culture, a phrase used whenever something fails epically.
Yeah, it's like New Coke. Everybody always says that.
Great big idea, didn't work. New Coke.
Whammo. Now, I have to ask you, did you ever try New Coke?
Sure I did. I'm a kid of the 80s, the MTV generation.
I am too, but I never had it. We didn't have regular sodas.
Well, and you remember shortly after New Coke failed, Coca-Cola very wisely, you don't get to their level without having a few working great ideas.
Yeah.
They reintroduced immediately the original formula and called it what you still might see today on your container or your bottle, Coca-Cola Classic.
That's right.
To differentiate it some 40 years ago now some 30 years ago now from New Coke.
Mm-hmm. So here's the deal with
and by the way, I thought it was too sweet and I didn't like it.
That's what I was going to ask. So Stranger Things, their new season is coming to Netflix. It starts on July 4th. That's when it'll be launched. And this season will be set in 1985. That was the year that New Coke came out.
It's like a whole Back to the Future thing.
I know. I actually have an interest in watching Stranger Things. I haven't done it yet, but I hear it's pretty fantastic. So to commemorate New Coke and their resurgence in pop culture, Coca-Cola is going to sell 500,000 cans of New Coke as a Stranger Things tie-in. Now, you have to get them online. They'll go on sale online on May 23rd. You might be able to find a few in stores. They'll all be marked with Stranger Things, so you'll see the promotional tie-in.
But it'll still be New Coke.
Yeah. I'm going to buy a can. I've never had it.
If you never had it in the 80s, well, I guess you should try it now. But it was not popular. And like I say, it became synonymous with epic fails, as millennials would say today.
Do you know how many days New Coke was on store shelves before they finally gave up on it?
It was very fast. I would say it was probably less than 30 days, because within literally days, the phones rang and the verdict was in from the American public. We don't like this New Coke. So I'm going to say it was on the shelves for 19 days.
It was 79 days.
Oh, it was that long?
It was a 3-month dialogue, essentially, for the country to go, what was Coke thinking? I think they tried to give it a little time to see if people would get used to it, but they did not. And it's very funny. Fox Business did a whole kind of put together a list of some of the biggest flops for big corporations out. Do you remember Crystal Pepsi?
I was just going to say Crystal Pepsi.
No, I never had that one either.
That was terrible.
I was deprived. That was in 1992. Also, there was something called Pepsi AM, which I do not remember.
That was the very late 80s.
89.
And I don't recall the difference between Pepsi AM and regular Pepsi.
It was supposed to have 25% more caffeine so people could drink it in the morning as a coffee alternative.
Okay, one thing that worked for Pepsi, which was not a failure in the 80s, was, and I took it outside the Staten Island Mall, the Pepsi Challenge.
That's right.
Where they'd give you 2 cups of soft drinks. One had Coca-Cola in it, not New Coke. One had Coca-Cola Classic, and one had Pepsi, and you didn't know which was which. And they swore that a majority of people, after trying both, would choose Pepsi. As I recall, I chose Coke anyway.
Did you? Yeah. See, I think people are really passionate depending on where they fall. If they're either Pepsi people or Coke people, Another product that was a flop, this one I don't remember, it was called the Apple Newton in 1993. It was like a message pad. It almost looks like the first...
Sort of looks like a BlackBerry.
Like the first device, kind of like that we all look at now. It's larger than a phone. You're our fast food connoisseur. Do you remember McDonald's Arch Deluxe?
I do remember the Arch Deluxe.
That was back in 1996.
I also remember the McDLT, which kept the cold, the cold side cold, and the hot side hot. Here's the thing about consumerism in the world we live in today and the multi-millions of dollars made in marketing. We as consumers, certainly American consumers, compared to European consumers or other continents, I don't know. I can speak for home sweet home.
Yeah.
The USA. We're very fickle. And consumers give products usually one shot. We give people forgiveness and many shots in our lives, usually public people and things like this, politicians often more shots than they deserve. But people drank New Coke. They said, you hate it, and never tried it again.
Right, you never went back.
That's right. And I think that, look, when people roll out new products, they know they've got to do it right on the rollout. We're speaking of the 80s. It's sort of a nostalgic segment here. Clara Peller made famous Where's the Beef? The line. She was working for Wendy's, selling Wendy's hamburgers. That commercial caught people. It was such a successful marketing effort that
we still remember it.
The sales went up, a gigantic increase in Wendy's sales, because people said, oh, that commercial's funny. Where's the beef? Talk about Wendy's? Let's try Wendy's next time we're out. People liked and they went back to Wendy's.
Right. And I think with things like Coke or McDonald's, when you are such great branders like those corporations are, people come to expect something. I'll give you one that flopped that's recent.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Burger King Satisfry?
Was terrible.
From 2013, the healthier alternative to French fries, that flopped.
They told fat guys like me to come to Burger King to have healthy French fries.
That's right, and nobody did.
I didn't want that. I didn't want that at all. Len on The Morning Answer. Brian and Jennifer, New Coke is coming back this summertime. Hi, Len.
Hey, you guys are doing great. And Brian, I'm glad you're doing better, my friend.
Thank you.
I'm a marketing guy. I have, my master's degree is in marketing. The best one, the biggest flop ever, was the Chevy Nova.
Now, the Chevy Nova, if I'm not mistaken, it went to Mexico. They thought Mexican people, residents, citizens would buy the Chevy Nova, and they didn't want it, right?
Except for Nova in Spanish means no go.
Should have thought about that.
That's a fatal flaw when you're selling a car.